Good evening to one and all for all the participation. I am R. Maheshwaran, Chartered Accountant from Coimbatore and co-opted member of the Ethical Standards Board. I am representing on behalf of SIRC, and I am grateful for the proud privilege of leading this session. As you know, today's session on transformation of internal audit and the stakeholders' expectation of SME is an exciting topic and very relevant, that too for younger CAs as well as senior CAs. And for this, we have an eminent and very well-read chartered accountant from Mumbai. I have great pleasure in introducing them. CA Chetan Thakur, FCA, SLP, IAMA, EMBA Harvard USA, CRM, CAA USA, and DISA. His professional background in a career spanning over 25 years includes 21 years of CA post-qualification experience. He has audited various large-sized listed companies, MNCs, and banks, Board of Governor at IAA India, Bombay chapter, Chair of Advocacy, Vice Chair of Membership, Training and Webinar Committee, Professional Association, and Speaker with IASB, IAA, ICAA, BCAS, Big Four, CA Studies Circles. He is subject matter expert in areas of internal audits, internal control over financial reporting, operational audits, management audits, systems audit, process improvement studies, fraud investigations, financial due diligence, risk management, ethics and compliances, ERP implementations, etc. It's a very exhaustive, and as I was speaking with the speaker, today's session will be something different and it will be refreshing. So hope we all will have a very good time. And along with that, I would like to mention and regret that second speaker on wills suddenly due to some preoccupation, the session will not be there. So it will be confined to first session only. So we can take enough time and utilize the experience of the great speaker. With these few words, I introduce the speaker, Thakur, to you. Please, sir.
Thank you so much. So good evening all friends, and warm welcome to all of you. And at the outset, my special thanks to the SIRC leadership team at ICAI for inviting me here to share my views. And let me promise you that next another 1.5 hours, this is not going to be monotonous session, or it won't be only theoretical. I'm going to have an interactive session. I'm going to pose a lot of questions to you. We'll interact with each other virtually. So I'll be keep posing a lot of questions to you. We'll collectively discuss this topic. So just allow me 1 minute. I will just start my screen. Sure. Is it my skill visible, all of you?
Visible, sir, visible. And when do you want to take the poll questions? Is it at the after
this? So before I start, I need to understand the profile of the participants. How many people have so far joined, Selva?
We are close to 70, sir.
That's excellent. So can you, may I request you to take the initial poll, so I understand the profile of the participants. So accordingly, I will take the session according with that maturity level. Please. Yeah, please. Thanks. Sure.
It started now. We'll wait for 1 minute and we'll get it.
Sure.
So the participants can vote on the screen, is it so?
Yes, the participants alone can vote on the screen, but organizer and panelists won't be able to vote.
Yeah, I understand, but it's visible to them. It should be visible.
Yeah, it's visible to them, sir, and I can see the response. I'll let you know. After 1 minute, I can launch the result of the poll here.
Okay, you can do it. Yeah, you can do. Please show the results.
I can see the response as of now. 1 minute. After 1 minute, I'll just
sure
close it, and 1 minute is gone. I'll close the poll now, and now I will share. This is the response. I hope you're seeing my screen. We have 31% under less than 35 age category, and 35 to 45 age category are 21% of the participants, and 36% under 45 to 60 years, and more than 60 years is 12% out of 70.
Sorry to interrupt you, Salva. I'm not seeing the poll on the screen. I can't see anything what you said.
So
It's not
can you,
visible to presenter?
Yes, sir. It's visible on the screen, sir. It's visible to me.
yeah,
Okay. Anyway, you can go ahead, please, because I'm not seeing those poll results on the screen now.
Sir, once again, I'll
Are
just
you able-
repeat Mark Sival. Yeah, less than 35 years, 31%, 35 to
Sure.
45, 21%, 45 to 60, 36%, more than 60, 12%.
Fair enough. Thank you so much for appraising the profile of the audience. Yeah, you can go ahead with the second
and
poll.
next we will go with the next polls. Are you a member of SAS? I will close the poll now, sir, and I'll share the result on the screen. So 97% says they are member of SAS, and 3% they are not member, or else they are not member of SAS. Am I audible, sir? Hello.
Mr. Thakkar, sir?
He is muted himself, it seems. 1 minute. Let me just.
Results, please.
Thakkar, sir?
Sir, hello.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
you're
Yes, sir.
audible now, sir. The
Yeah, I can
response
see
for
the
member of
results. Yeah, I could see the results under this audience view, and I can see 97% are from our southern region. Good to know that. So that would be more
Yes, sir.
interesting
So
to
we'll go with
address the
the next-
member of SA also.
We'll go with the next polls.
Sure, please.
What is your present occupation? 1 minute. I'll close the poll and I launch the results.
Yes, please.
Yeah, now it's launched. So hope you're seeing the results.
Yeah, please.
83% in practice and 10% in industry, 3% as freelancing, and 5% in other occupations.
Thank you so much, Selva. I could see that. So maximum people are from practice. So accordingly, I will just set the tone for this session. Thank you so much, Selva. Thank you so much.
And the next one, we'll just check with the present location.
Sure. Thank you, Raja. Light hello, man.
I will close the poll now, sir, and I will launch.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Result is on the screen, sir.
Sure. Okay. So Tamil Nadu maximum participants are from Tamil Nadu.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's thank you so much, Selva, for having this initial poll to understand the kind of audience I am going to share and discuss another 1.5 hours. So thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Sure. So should we start the presentation? Is that fine with you?
Start your presentation, sir, please. Yeah.
You can start.
So,
Is my slide visible to you?
no, not yet, sir. 1 minute. I'll just check the poll.
Yeah.
1 minute. I'll just take the presenter rights.
Sure.
I will give it back to you again. Yeah. Now we can start sharing the screen, sir.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, now it's visible, sir. Now it's visible in slideshow mode. You can start with the slides. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shall I now?
Can, sir,
Please,
please.
sir, please.
Yeah, sure. Just allow me 1 second to just quick setup. So friends, welcome to today's topic. We are talking about the transformation of internal audit, how internal audit evolved the role, how role has been changed. And the second part, we are going to talk about the stakeholder expectation. And I'm going to talk more about not the large corporates or maybe big four. I will try and bring to the discussion which is relevant to us. We have seen the profile. Most of us are the practitioner and the mix of the young and the experienced chartered accountant. So I will bring down presentation to the relevance to all of us. So friends, now the slide is visible. I am on the second slide.
No, sir, it's on the first slide only. Can you just check?
Yeah,
It
that's
seems
what I won't think.
fast. You might have passed the screen sharing. You just see whether it's.
Because
Yeah, now it's moving to the GoToWebinar browser page, sir. You just go to PPT again.
just allow me 1 minute quickly to set the things.
Yeah, no problem, sir.
Salvam, otherwise, can you do quickly? Can you upload it? Because I'm not getting this quickly because
1
we are
minute,
not
sir.
used to this. Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
1 minute. Let me just type it.
And give me the rights for changing of the slides so things will be comfortable. You may upload it.
Yeah, let me just open your slide. 1 minute.
Sure, I have stopped showing the screen.
Yeah, let me just. WhatsApp. Give me a moment, sir. It's loading.
Yeah, I can see the screen. And can you make it F5, so full screen?
It's done, sir, and I've given you the mouse slides also. You can change the slide. Can I just say, click on the next?
Just a moment.
Yeah.
Just allow me one
Yeah,
minute.
now
Yeah,
it's,
I can see.
it's moving. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And my apology for inconvenience, couple of minutes to setting the presentation live for all of us. So welcome, friend. I will just start the presentation. So before we just a moment. Now, how to go about? I am not able to change the page, Selvam.
Yeah, it's moving. So just click on center of the page. It should be. Yeah. Now it's moving.
Sure, fine, friends. So, okay, fine. Thank you so much, Salam, for helping out. So, friends, let's understand broadly how role has been changed. We can look back 1950s, where the primary objective was focus internal auditor was on accounting matters. So it was transaction audit. Thereafter, era come 1960, focus was mixed. It is on accounting as well as operation audit. In 1970s, the breakthrough has came, and then we thought accounting was basically the purview of the statutory auditor, and we remain with the operation. The focus changed from accounts, from transaction. It has come 1970 to the operations. In 1980s, in the next decade, you could see that earlier we were more serving to the management. The theme has changed to service to the organization. So it is looking organization needs as an internal auditor, as a management auditor. 90s, you could see the concept of audit independence came in. The compliance, professional standard, ethics have been set in, and the role has changed not only to do the assurance internal audit service, however, to do even consulting service. I'll come back to you in the greater details in the slides to come ahead. And 2000, the shift of the auditor has come to corporate governance. So there is internal audit committee, there is a risk committee, independent directors, a formal reporting of the internal auditors to the audit committee, functional report to CEO, MD. So that change has happened. And 2020, what has happened? Where do we stand as a profession? I will take through in other for the slide space. Somehow, Sarva, I'm not able to change it, even putting center.
Sorry, sir. Just
I'm doing
one
on the center, but somehow slide is not neither on page up, page down. Also, it's yeah.
Now it's changing. Just sorry, it was paused already. Now it's
Yeah.
changed. I'll
Yeah, that's why I was not able to do it here. No worries. Thanks, Salam. So, friends, as we discuss today discussion, we are going into two sections. I'll be talking how role has evolved, how transformation has happened, and the first session. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so first session we are divided. We will talk about. We will do a health checkup. We'll have the different surveys by the Big Four, II, Global Risk Management Institute. We'll talk about the new roles, how you make as a more effective, how efficacy of internal audit could be improved, what could be the skill set. We'll talk in a greater detail. Second section, I'll be talking about who are our stakeholders. Is it ACM, CEO, CFO, operation management, IA, and all. Sarvam, next. I'm not able to change from my end. I think slide sharing rights have given. No, I'm not able to change the slides. Yeah, friends. So let's talk about first section. Yeah. Can you go back? Salam, can you give me rights to change the slides? Because I'm getting difficulty. Otherwise, there is no synchronization what I speak and the slide I'm discussing.
no. I given you the rights already, sir. You can just click on the, or else use the a down arrow to just move through the slides. It should be working.
Sure, okay. Sure.
Yes, moving up and down.
Sure, fine. Yeah. So before we start, let's do a health checkup and understand where do we stand as a profession. We have seen how transition happened from 1950s till date. So let's do a health checkup. So I have taken the survey results of IA, a part of IA US. This survey has been done in India last year, and the Global Risk Management Institute. Let's see where do we stand as a profession. Salam. Salam, I think you need to help me. Is it PPT or PDF, Salam? Salvam, I think I'm not able to move ahead. I'm sorry to say, but it seems that no, Salvam, we are going ahead. Salvam, let's go back. Yeah, so let's talk about the surveys done by the IIA and GRMI. So what is being found in the survey? Let's look at the first outcome of the survey. There is a gap between the desired skill set and the risk perspective for performing IA. So 90% of the participants, the top 500 companies, CEOs, CFOs, and the chief auditor has participated part of this survey. And the results are in front of you. I will take through one by one. This is not to scare you or not to frighten you, but just to know, we need to know where do we stand as a profession at this point of time. So 90% of people feel still there is a gap. We don't possess those skill set. What was the next finding? I started embarrassing artificial intelligence, machine learning, data mining. So they feel only 40% of people are still using artificial intelligence, machine learning, data mining. Still, there is a room for improvement for another 60%. Next, I professional have awareness of II standards. How many of us, I as a professional, aware about the II standards? See, that's a global body, IA, Institute of Internal Audit, US. So that is a global body currently which helps to propagate, set the guidance, set the standards for internal audit profession globally and having presence in 170 countries. So how many years we really know the standards and how many years we comply it? So survey says it is only 40%. So that is, again, I think we need to improve here. I require for a better understanding of the business uses and the practical remediation. So 86% still feel we as an audit profession, still we need to understand what are the business nuisances, intelligences of business and give the practical recommendation. So 86% still feel we have to work on this. Now quickly look at EY and the PwC survey done last year. What they say about internal audit as a profession, the state of our profession. Stakeholder believe IA needs improvement. So 56% still feel, as per survey, still we need to improve as IA. IA helps to achieve business objective. 44% feel IA is still not in synchronization with the business objective. I do something else. We focus on the smaller areas. Still, we are working on the financial audits, account audit, accounts payable, accounts receivable, fixed asset, rather than getting what business is heading toward merger acquisition. We are not the part of due diligence. Business has some challenge. They are doing some demerger. They are doing some acquisition. So we are not participating in those major business activity. We are in silos with them. So I think that's the survey says we need to align with the business objective, the way where business is going into. Stakeholder involved, key business decision. So only 37% of the stakeholders, top management feel we are good for the business decision and strategy. So if we want our place in the top management, executive committees, we want your board to call you, your CFO, CEO to call you in all the important business decision, key business decision, strategy discussion. I think we need to improve. We need to become a smart auditor. So I think still there is a good scope available for us to improve there. 32% of the survey people, top management feel I attracts future leader and high potential talent. So only 32% feel I can get into, they can become leader. They can have a potential talent. So we as a good internal auditor, only 32% feel you can become CFO, you can become a commercial head, you can become co, you can become CEO. So I think still we need to leverage our skills. So that's what all about survey. I'm telling you friends, this is not to frighten you, but let you know, say health checkup. See something you cannot you doesn't know your scorecard, you will not know where do you stand and where we need to control and where we have to improve. So this survey is helping us to know the state of affair. So that's what change is required. Now look at this EY survey. So we are good at audit finding, we are good at completing audit, we are good at timely reporting. But where do we still lack? You see, only 19% of the audits currently, EY survey says, we really get into what business initiative. As I told you, M&A, business is getting in the setting up into the new countries outside India. So are we have a role to play? What could be the risk specific to those countries? If you are acquiring something, you are selling of something, or are you continuing to do a traditional audits? So are you a part of are you working on the vision? Are you a business partner? Are you acting as a trusted advisor to your board? See, that is what the survey is coming out. So we have to now become a trusted advisor to our board, our audit committee member, and we have to become a business partnering with our management. Cost reduction. Still many firms, many companies, we feel we are a cost to the company since we are an internal auditor, either as a third party, either as a consulting firm, or we working as a corporate, as an in-house internal audit team. So we have to now change. So next 1 hour I am going to talk how we can leverage as a good auditor to getting into the business area. We become a good business auditor, and how we will be relevant to the business, how we are going to be a trusted partner, and how we will be able to do the business partnering with the top management. So let's take next 1 hour on this. So friends, I am going to tell, apart from your basic as a chartered accountancy, most of us are a chartered accountant right now being on this session. I am going to talk, apart from internal audit, you need to have 3 skills, which I will take through one by one. So this will make you a good, smart auditor, sharp auditor, and your acceptability will be increased in a greater way. The first one we'll talk about ERM. So over and above your expertise into internal audit and internal control, you need to become a good hang on the ERM. So friends, you have to set the tone. You have to get into, see, there are a lot of courses available on, even by IIUS, there are many Institute of Risk Management, Institute of Internal Audit. Our CA Institute also has a program on enterprise risk management. Get yourself qualified with this. So you know what are the major risks, a different set of risks available in the business. The top risk is strategy risk. There are some operational risks. There are compliance risks. There are financial risks. So all risks in your businesses are divided into these 4: strategic, compliance, operation, and financial. So you need to have a literacy of the risk management. You should not go with your management with the low hanging or low rated transaction audit issues. So you want your acceptability in a boardroom, or you should be called by your CFO or CEO now and then for helping them in a business. So you have to go with them. What are the top risks, high risks? What are critical risks? So I'm sure you will be get valued. So this is an assurance function. You can review risk management in the company. In a consulting role, you can help in setting up the system process in new businesses. If you get into, you can help in the preparation of the risk policy. You can help in formation of the risk committee agendas. You can highlight through your internal auditing what are the critical risks, high risk, medium risk. We already discussed 4 set of any risk in the business. And that's one of the 4 category we discussed. So you go with the maybe quarterly or half yearly. You monitor those risks, go back to your management, top management, tell them what are the risks business is facing along with the mitigation plan. So you will be appreciated. So friends, this is the first skill I am talking about. You need to leverage now, apart from internal audit, you need to become a good risk manager. So this second combination will make you more stronger, apart from your core forte skill in internal audit and control. So this is all about ERM. So you can play as the assurance role, you can review those activity, you can draw the policy, you can highlight with the regular report, quarterly reporting to the risk committee, audit committee on the various risk mitigation plan, level of risk, acceptance level, risk mitigation plans, what are the residual risks, what are inherent risks. So you will be able to focus and contribute more to the business rather than only doing the transaction and operation audit. So that's the first skill we discussed about. So let's go to second skill. So that's about forensic skill. So this is the third skill apart from internal audit. Second skill is a fraud risk management. So friends, the days have gone, we discussed how role has evolved. See, it is not our duty and obligatory to report on fraud, but it is very much expected. May it be a board, your ACM, or may it be your top management, CFO or CEO. They expect while you do audit, especially procurement audit, marketing audit, quality reviews, some of the manufacturing processes. So there are a lot of inherent risks available in those business processes. So here also, so you get into assurance and a consulting role. You assist in drawing the forensic risk management policies. You have a awareness session as an assurance role. You do a review. So if you are doing P2P audit or marketing audit, you focus management. What are the gray areas in forensic? Bring those on the table of the top management. So in assurance role, you can help management and give them a very practical solution on what could be the mitigation plan to prevent, detect, and correct the frauds. In a consulting role, on behalf of management, if it is fraud is being detected by the management or may be done during our course of audit, you may play a role of investigator. You may co-source, you may do it your own, or you can take the help of the experts. So you necessarily need to become a second skill as we discussed. Apart from risk management, second skill to make you a more smarter auditor, you need to have a forensic risk assessment skill. So that skill will make you a more focused. What are the pain areas? What are the red flags all across the business? So which you capture through internal audit, through your audit process. And for that also, friends, there are various courses available. Certified Fraud Examiner is the global institute, ACFE. We sponsor the US course, and there are courses available even at our institute, which talks about the, which give you the degrees and the knowledge about how to go about forensic risk assessment. So technically that make you more sound. So this is the second skill we need to get into place. So third skill, which is the most related, not only because we are into pandemic, the way we do business, I don't think so. Now days are gone, we used to do everything manually. Everything has to be done by the on IT platform, whatever you call, maybe payroll, you may be using SAP, you may be using data analytics. I will talk to you. I have one slide which I will talk to you. What are the different set of the IT awareness we should have as good internal auditors? So we necessarily have to become, I'm not saying very subject expert, but definitely you should need to have necessary knowledge in IT skills. So there are institutes available where you can do CISA. Our CA Institute has the DISA program. There are a lot of CISM program sponsored by ISACA. So that make you very strong on IT. You, as an assurance function, we discuss, we can do ITGC audit, we can do IT networking audit, we can talk about IT security audits. And as a consulting role, because most of people we are here today are practicing, you can take an assignment of ERP implementation, maybe data mining, data migration, validation of the things. You can become as a domain experts. And so this is very promising, and especially right now in the pandemic, where work from home still happening in most of the places, in view of the cyber security, data privacy, you cannot have, you have to learn the IT skill necessarily. Otherwise, you will not really always get your place, your table, your chair in with the top management. You have to acquire sooner the better. So these are the three skills. Apart from you being a chartered accountant as a good internal auditor, you need to have three skills we discuss. you need to equip yourself, embrace yourself with the enterprise risk management skill. Second, we spoke about forensic skill, and third, we spoke about the IT skills. So these are the three skills will make you a smart, strong, very practical, acceptable, and welcome auditor, not only to your top management, senior management, even you will be welcomed with the kind of suggestion you give on this different after having these three skills. So this is what I'm trying to, as a good auditor, let's leverage on these three skills. You cannot do everything all at a time. You set your own priorities. You have a combination, depend on your practice areas. If you are getting in forensic assignment, you have already IA background, do something like CFE, Certified Fraud Examiner. You do some good courses. Issued as FAD, Forensic Accounting and Forensic Fraud Detection degree certification. We have it at ICA. So you decide where you want to go, but slowly, gradually, keep a target of 2 to 3 years, get one by one skill. Then you may would like to go for risk management programs, which is a different certification. As I told you, IIS sponsor Certified Risk Management Assurance Program. IRN sponsor that. Our CA should has the program, Certified Enterprise Risk Management. So friends, I request, if you want to be a successful internal auditors, maybe in practice or industry, you have to slowly and gradually getting into these three skills. Anybody has any question, may feel free, even in between the, you can chat me, send me your any question, or you want to share your any views or any experience you want to share, or some other benchmarking, you may please post your message in the chat box, please. So, I hope, yeah, thank you. So friends, I was talking about, see now you all get to engage. I will pose, can I have any, see these are the, as I told you, IT playing a big role, because I don't see maybe a small, medium size or mid size or a large corporate, are you in banking, insurance, manufacturing, practice, IT plays a role. So I'm not saying you need to become a subject matter expert in this technology driven processes, because business is going to use this technology, and you cannot afford to not to use this or not to know about these technologies. You have to embrace, you have to upskill yourself to know this current technology. So friends, I will invite all of you. Can I am sure you must have heard about artificial intelligence. So can I have any example? Can you please put your thoughts on the chat? What could be the examples come to your mind by your experience? Let's have a dialogue between us virtually. Can I have please? Can I have any example on artificial intelligence with business using it? You can please put on a chat through message. So we as the members will able to leverage your experience also here. You can put on message please in the chat box. Anybody would like to share any examples of artificial intelligence? Okay. I'll just wait for 20-30 seconds to have the participants share their views, any examples they came across of their practicing or industry career. I'll just wait for 20-30 seconds to have your views, please, before I get into and I share my views on this. Okay, friends, let me share. See, as I told you, I will take through I will give you the practical example where this technology is being used in the business. I'm not saying you become expert and you leave internal audit or chartered accountancy and get into this. But see, if business is using artificial intelligence, if business is using robotic processes, if business is working on the data science, if business is working, business data is on the cloud computing, you need to know the nuances of the cyber security. You need to know what could be data analytics available in the market. See, if you doesn't know the technology, what business using it, you will not able to contribute in a great way. And then you will not get the front chair along with sitting next to your top management. So you have to embrace, you have to upskill, not necessarily all at the same point of time, but gradually you have to get into your business using those technology. So friends, let's talk about artificial intelligence. What examples come to our mind? In a manufacturing process, say a car manufacturing, they are using the robots by using the artificial intelligence. You all heard about the self-driving cars. So driverless cars, those are again a good example of artificial intelligence. This is mapping. See, with the trained, we do CBC, you check your diabetes, you check your BP, you do different set of tests. I'm example say thyroid. So this artificial intelligence machine will tell you the kind of disease. Are you got a typhoid? Are you got a dengue? Are your sugar levels, HbA1c is going much beyond that? So these are all, say if you're in hospital industry, you need to know what kind of artificial intelligence your hospital industry using, or what kind of robotics is being used to see the manufacturing process in terms of quality. Smart assistant. So these are the some of the example. These are the some of the example we talked, which comes to my mind quickly. So friends, let's talk about machine learning techniques. I would like again open for engaging you guys to have your thoughts on any examples comes to your mind on machine learning techniques. Can I have your views in the chat box, please? I request audience to please participate. So you know that won't be a monotonous session. I would like you to be. I'm just addressing the session. I'm not leading the session. I'm also one among you. Just driving the session along with thought process we as a team. So we can share each other experiences, please. Any thoughts on ML? Any thoughts on machine learning technique?
Participants, please share whatever you feel right. I mean, it's let it be a two-way traffic to make it interesting, somewhat dry subject. Let us interact, please.
Yeah. No, but these are the necessary technology, sir. You are saying everywhere, all the businesses are using it. So this is again a platform through our discussion. We as a team, as a members, so we can exchange our idea. I have some example. If you have such a large audience, they may share something. So we collectively learn with each other, experience with each other wisdom. Can I have your views? Can I have any example of machine learning comes to your mind, participants? I would really appreciate your views. Okay, fine. I will give couple. I will give you a very simple example. Say if you are looking for a watch and you are doing on a Google, you are watching, you are looking for a Rado or Rolex watch. I'm sure you must have observed that after you have done Google, you want to buy some Rado, Rolex or Timex or Titan, any type of watch. I'm just giving you one small example, a practical example. Then you may see that if you do, then after some time you send, even you open a Facebook, you will find lot of ads coming on different type of watches. I'm sure you, each one of us must experience. This is what machine learning. So machine pick up the pattern. Whatever Google, see if I am looking for a trouser, and if I vouch on the Raymond trouser, ready-made trouser. So after maybe every day, every year, whenever I open any application, I will get pop-up trousers. On this set trousers, example. So this is about a practical example of even so different companies, different set of you are coming, which is all talked about trousers. So this is machine learning. Your machine will take the predictive analysis. It will set the pattern what he as a customer looking at. So you need to know these are the different set of machine learning techniques. So example, if you filter somebody email as a spam, so automatically will put those emails, filter those emails. See, if I don't want to have any social group email coming to my official email ID, then I will filter that. I will put it in the spam. So what is practically happening now? Anytime that particular that mail come, which will automatically After I put that filter, it will go and sit in this spam. I will not be come in my official account. So that is again the example of machine learning. Okay. Now come to the third one, which is a very, very important, robotic process automation. So I'm again putting 30 seconds to my participant to share their wisdom on this. Any example they have it. I am anyway going to share with you my experiences, but it would be good to have your. So I will wait another 30 seconds to have your views. Any example comes to your mind, friends? Anybody? Anybody? It is open forum. Even it is wrong, no worries. We are going to collectively discuss the right examples for you. Anybody would like to share views on robotic process? I'll just wait for a couple of seconds, few more, 10-15 seconds, and let's see. Okay, no worries. I will just share with you, for example, it's like robotic process in my company itself. For even payment processing, that is called invoice processing, we use a robotic process. We have one centralized global processing unit, whereby everything, even three-way match, quotation comparison, your PO, GRN, invoice matching, that is three-way match, everything is happening through robotic process. We have deployed the robots in our that global services, which is our backend, which handle the bulk of our data analysis. So that is maybe for invoice processing. I have given the practical example. So friends, what I'm trying to say, you did not to have that expertise into that robotic process, how the robot work, how technical. You don't have to get into that. See, what you need to know, whatever we discuss, artificial intelligence, machine learning, you need to know how that process happen, how business using this technology in the business, what could be the control gaps, what could be the risk if there is a failure of this technology, what could be the compliance failure if this doesn't go right, if failure of the compliance is. So we have to necessarily review this technology which business is using it from the control, risk and compliance perspective. Ultimately, we have to remain on our page. You don't have to become expert how robot has been manufactured. No. The purpose of discussing here, we as an internal auditor, as a subject expert in GRC, that is governance, risk, compliance, we keep our fit on very clearly on our focus area. The robotic process, if I'm using for invoice processing, if I'm using it for my customer support, if I'm using it for my, say I'm using a robot even for my payroll processing, say my company. So what are the risks involved if there is a mismatch or payroll data doesn't give the correct positive, it throws the false positives, the processing, there are gaps, or there is a assessing to those payroll, somebody may offline may breach the data. So we have to look from those perspectives, security perspective, risk perspective, control, maker checker is there or not, is this somebody checking it independently, somebody who is compiling the data, is there any manual intervention, is there any risk, is somebody may change the data. So basically we have to review this technology used by the business to see that what could be the control gaps, what could be the compliance gap, and what could be the risk, and give a very practical, relevant, achievable suggestion to your top management, so they will appreciate we as the internal auditor as a value proposition. So friends, come to the next technology, which is broadly cloud computing. Again I'm opening next 30 seconds. I think this is cloud computing. All of us must have heard about this word. I don't think so. This is something very unusual, but yes, nowadays everything, most of our data, because of the cost, pricing, safety, cost parameters, everybody's data is on the cloud computing. Can I have a few examples, please? Anybody would like to share on the cloud computing? Any example, you can drop in the chat box. I'm happy to see if you contribute. Anybody would like to share on cloud computing? Any practical example? Sure. No worries. See, very simple example. I will give the very practical example. The Gmail, what you are, see, the Gmail we use it, the Rediff you use it, the Hotmail you use it, the Dropbox you use it. The all data, so that is the purpose. Even I am in the US, I am in UK, I am in Mumbai, you are in Chennai, Coimbatore, Trivandrum, wherever. Why we are able to access our email account just by login and password anywhere? Because our entire data of Gmail, Hotmail, Rediff Mail, Dropbox is sitting on the cloud. So here again I am repeating, friends, maybe sake of repeating, but to understand why I am discussing this. See, if your company's data, your company's operational data, major data, the data privacy, data security, you need to know cloud, what are the type of, who are the partners, what are their SLAs. If there are gaps in the control of cloud computing, what could be the risks? Are they comply with the SLA? Is there any statutory? If I am using some of the vendors from US or UK, what could be the compliance has to be done? How I will ensure those data are secured? So our role is not to have a subject expertise in how cloud computing not only work. We have to again look from perspective, because your personal banking data, say now bank and financial, they don't have their own. Their data itself also sitting on the, most of the large data is sitting on the cloud. So you need to review, you need to understand how cloud computing work, what are the control gaps could be, what could be the risk of using it to the organization, to the individual, to the top people. If the data is misutilized, if there is a compromise on the security, if tomorrow all of a sudden the cloud computing go offline, it gets shut down, how your business get impacted. If you know how important your business base also, say my business base also right now on the cloud computing example. If your email doesn't work for 3 to 4 hours or even for an hour, how it's going to affect your business, how invoicing is going to happen, how billing will happen, how payment will be updated. So you need to know those risks, those control. And if non-compliance to the SLAs, the service level agreements, what we have entered with the vendors, what could go wrong? See, basically we as our core internal audit, we have talked about what could go wrong, so we can able to penetrate those things. So you need to know the modus operandi, how artificial intelligence work, what are the machine learning, if your company working it, is your company using RPA, is your data of your data is secured on the cloud. You need to know that necessarily, otherwise you will give the assurance to the area which are the lower or medium risk areas, and where the chunk of the business is happening, your manufacturing, production, your quality, the operations are happening on this technology driven processes, and you will not look into this unless you embrace to that, you upskill yourself, you learn those technology, and I told you, look from GRC perspective. So let's go ahead. Next one, data analytics and data science. Anybody help me with the example of data analytics? What are data analytics available in the market, even globally? We as the internal auditor, we call CAT tool. I will just keep another 30 seconds for you to share your views. Give any example of data analytics come to you, data science comes to you. Anybody, any thoughts on examples? Anybody, any thoughts? Any data analytics come to your mind? Because globally, there are only two major data analytics which is acceptable globally. I will share with you. I want to hear from you guys. So just leaving another 30 seconds for you to share your views, please. Anybody would like to share?
Can't you see response in questions panel, sir?
Okay. Yeah. MS Excel. Microsoft. Okay. So I got the response. Somebody is talking Microsoft. Yeah. Somebody is talking about Excel. Okay. I think somebody has nicely given example how car manufacturing by Roberts. Yes, that's true. Absolutely true. Thank you, friends. Thank you for sharing your views on this. So, friends, I will give, see, globally, not in India, there are two CAT tools, okay, which is available. One is ACL and another is IDEA. These are the two top tools available. We call CAT tool, which is globally accepted. And let me take you through practical examples. A healthcare recommendation, fraud detection. See, data analytics will, because see now if we do audit, the size of my company is 1 trillion. I have almost more than 36 plants all over India. Even we have plant outside India, Singapore, US, UK, everywhere. The size of my company is more than 1 trillion. That is 1 lakh crore is the size of my this. We have only 40 auditors. Okay. I have more than 36 plants. I have only 40 auditors. I am into multi-geography, multiple products. We are into steel. We are into cement. We are into energy. We are into infra. We are into paints. So we are into multiple businesses. And we have a small size of 40 people. Am I going to do with the sample audit and give the reports? Am I justifiable to give assurance to my management? Answer is no. Because nowadays, as your company grows, it becomes multi-geographical, multi-product. The size of company increases every moment of time, every minute, crores of transaction happening, lakhs of invoices happening, lots of GRN happening, lakhs of dispatches happening all across the size of company we talked about. So the days have gone. We talked about doing audit through sample. If I have a 1 trillion turnover, I cannot vouch for few crores or few lakhs of transaction and I go back to my top management or I go back to audit committee and say that things are fine and these are the few exceptions. No, this is no more acceptable, friends. You have to embrace data analytics if your businesses increase over the time. So you have to use this data analytic tool like IDEA, ACL, and there are a lot of BI tools available in the market, but these two are prominently most important. I will give one more example. By doing data analytics, you will able to know what could be, how do you optimize your logistic routes in the real time. I will give you other example. By doing a data analytics or using the data science techniques, I will get to learn what could be my routes available. Which route is better route? I will able to leverage on cost, which is the shortest route. Or should I go by a rail or should I not go by road? Or should I go by shipping? Which is a cheaper option? Which is the faster option? All these predictive analysis would be done by data analytics and data science. So that's the beauty of this technology driven processes. You have to leverage that, because absolutely you doing some sample, doing few transaction audit and you go back, I think we are not able to give the right assurance and we are not able to even play as a practitioner our role as a good consultants. So you need to leverage those things. So these tools, techniques, data science is available. You embrace that, learn that, upskill yourself sooner the faster, as I told you earlier. The last one is the most let me tell you, cyber security is the #1 risk globally. There are hundreds of surveys available all across globe, not only in India. And cyber security is #1 risk globally. So it is so important. We as the internal auditor has to get into this. You have to go back to your management and say that what could be the, if any data privacy risk, is there any ITGC risk, is it data security risk, is there networking risk? You have to necessarily possess knowledge about this, and you should know of ways. See, cybersecurity is, as a basic, I will just quickly get into that. You should have the knowledge of ways and means of these attacks. What are the different set of attacks? Anybody has any thoughts? What could be the attacks? Any thoughts? I will just keep it open for you guys, friends. I will just get open this for anybody has any thought? what comes to your mind? What could be the cybersecurity? What are the kind of attacks you could see in the which business suffers basically? From simple to very serious sort of threats available. There would be the malware attacks. There could be denial of service attacks. There could be the phishing attacks. There could be compromise on password sharing, password compromise attack. So it is very, very important. You should need to know first what kind of security threats your company is having. For that, you necessarily need to know that what kind of attacks is available. So unless you know, you have knowledge about this technology, you will not able to check and give comfort to your management, because we lack on those knowledge. So friends, this is what in the one slide I summarize you. These are the 6 topmost technology driven processes used in the business. So it is not something I'm talking of the large company of our size. Somebody with even 500,000 crore, definitely they have this technology smaller to a bigger way. So my only humble request to all my members here who is attending today, upskill yourself and embrace with this technology what is used and relevant to your clients, the company where you works upon, please. So this is one of the important slide I want to just spend some time with you, friends. Yes, phishing. Yeah, I think somebody has, Pawan has written phishing, denial of service. Excellent, Pawan. I think thank you so much sharing the thoughts, Pawan. I really appreciate. So friends, this is all about before I get into my section 2, I request another 30 seconds. Any question in my section 1? See, I'm just summarizing once again. We talked about the surveys. We understood where do we stand as a profession, where do we need as an improvement. See, unless you know what are the gaps, you are not able to control and improvise those things. So you need to measure those things so that you will able to control and you can improve it. So we discuss those surveys. We discuss what are the top 3 skills. Can somebody write for me over and above internal auditor as a chartered accountant? What are the 3 risks what are the 3 skills we require necessary to become a very good smart auditors? Can somebody write for me in the chat box, please? Meanwhile, I just have a glass of water. Can somebody summarize for me what are the 3 skill set we required to have a good auditor, a smart auditor? Can somebody write in the chat box for me? I hope I'm making the sense and trying to make it session more practical and relevant with the example. I could be as much as I can. Can somebody share what are the 3 things we discussed? Apart from we as a chartered accountant, as an internal auditor, we should possess those 3 skills. Anybody? Anybody remember? We just discussed half an hour before. Anyone? I'll just wait for another 30 seconds, please. No worries, friends. I will summarize for you. See, to the entire purpose, we discussed how internal audit to be relevant in the current 2021 and the way forward, the years to come. We as a chartered accountant, not only to become a good at internal audit, internal control, we discussed the very first skill after internal auditing skill, we need to be a good at risk management skill. We should know, we should help the businesses, what are your critical top risks, and we discussed what could be the type of risk. The whatever risk in your business has to be summarized in the 4 parts. One is the strategic risk, second is the operation risk, third is the financial risk, and fourth is the compliance risk. So any risk in the business has to necessarily sit in one of the 4 risks, and you have to go back to your management, your audit committee, your risk committee, your CFO, your COO, tell them We cannot afford to do a transaction audit or some few a lower hanging observation on the operation. We have to tell the management what are the top risks in these 4 categories. So that is our first risk. First skill we discuss risk management. Then we discuss about fraud risk. See, everybody, it is good to have a report issues, operation issues, financial issues, tax issues, where we are experts. But now, as you know, a lot of expectation, you know, a lot of scandals happening all across, made banking, made manufacturing, main service sector, main IT sectors. So we have many examples. It is available in the public domain. And there are regulator, lot of expectation from regulator, maybe MCA, maybe NAFRA, maybe SEBI, maybe RBI. All regulators are, because anything goes in the company. What is the question asked? But if anything goes in the company, if any fraud happen or siphoning of money happen, what is the first question come to us? Where were the internal auditors? So anything goes wrong in the company, and because we are the trusted partner, we are business partnering with them, the first question will pose to us as an internal auditor. The management will ask, where were the internal auditor? Why this has happened? Why you have not seen this? Why this has not detected earlier? Why this has not brought to our notice? Why this red flag has not been informed to us? Why mitigation has not been done earlier? So you have to have, it is not our obligatory to, but by way of our normal audit, procurement audit, are the diligence happened properly? Is the bidding process is transparent? Is the bids are not being opened? Is there is no prefixing of pricing? Is your bidding happen online, reverse auction, e-auction? Is it happening transparently? Okay. Is it same vendor is being favored? So at least you go back, have a red flag, filter down, come to the information, get the red flag right, and brief it to the top management. So that you will be respected as a good internal auditor. Third skill we discuss, IT skill, which is for me the third topmost skill. We have to possess that sooner the better. And on the screen we discuss this. A different set of technology used by small, medium enterprise to the large corporate like us. We use these technologies and we have to embrace. You have to upskill. You should know the basic IT general control risk, IT security risk, cyber security risk, networking risk, the different set of attacks. So you have to have leverage on this cyber security risk. So friends, I have summarized for you before I get into the second session. I hope any question, I will again keeping next 30 minutes open for you. Any question on the section 1, I'm happy to take. And if you any question, I'll take it now or I will take it at the end of this session. Option available to you. So I'm keeping next 30 seconds for you to have your questions, please. Anybody, any doubt, please feel free to speak. I'm here to share another half an hour with you. So feel free, any practical doubt, difficulty, I'm happy to answer with the little experience what I do have it into the subject. Anybody, please, happy to answer. Any question, anybody? I hope I'm audible, Salva, right? Am I audible, Salva?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Audible, sir.
Audible, sir. Yeah, you're audible. And you can see the response questions panel alone, sir, actually, not in chat box.
Okay.
Have some time.
Enterprise fraud is, yeah, I think, yeah, fantastic. I think somebody has summarized for me. Thank you so much. Somebody has rightly summarized as over and above, we as the chartered accountant, we have to become slowly and gradually get into risk management, get into fraud risk management, and we have to upskill ourselves into IT. Thank you so much for somebody has summarized for me. Thank you so much. Any other question? I'm happy to take. Yes, related industry and the business knowledge. Absolutely. If you don't possess that and you do a simply transaction audit, I'll come to that, friends. My last 2 slides are very, very important 2 slides where I want to spend a good time with you guys. These are the 2 slides where I summarize my 2 years of experience, my 25 years of experience in internal audit is summarized into those last 2 slides. That is slide number 23 and 24. Okay, friends, thank you so much for your inputs. I really appreciate. So I'm getting into now. Yes, definitely accounting, costing, taxation knowledge. See, these are our forte area. As a chartered accountant, this is expected. This is minimum expected. You are expert in account, tax, costing. What we are discussing today to have the transformation which is required for we as an intern auditor. So that's our discussion for the day. How you could able to transform yourself from a accountant, cost or taxation expert to become a good intern auditor, to become a good risk manager, to become a good forensic intern auditor, to become a good IT auditor. So that's my thrust and deliverable to you and to share on that platform. Thank you, friends. I'm getting into the second section now. So, friends, we talked about stakeholder expectation. So, friends, before I get into stakeholder, can somebody help me? Who are the stakeholders for us? I'm just another 30 seconds for you. Who are the stakeholders for intern auditor? To whom we serve? Can somebody write in the chat or your question? Who are our stakeholders as an intern auditor? Anything that comes to your mind. Who are our stakeholders? To whom we report? To whom we... Anybody? Any thoughts? Okay, friends. Let's discuss who are the stakeholders. The first and the foremost and the top of our stakeholder is audit committee. That's the board of director, maybe independent directors mainly. And these are the people we call those who charge with the governance. So they are our first stakeholder, audit committee people. And who are these people? Those charged with governance, TCWG. Who are these people? They are independent directors, they are outsiders. They have a very limited interaction with the officer because they come 4 to 5 times in a year on our quarterly meetings, ACA meetings, board meetings. They are not involved in day to day. They are not legally liable to conduct the business, and their personal growth is not directly related to success. So these are the people we call up audit committee members, board members. Now, friends, the first stakeholder, as I shared with you, board members, what are their expectations? As I told you, they just come maybe 2-3 hours in every quarter to attend the board meeting. So we are, as an intern auditor, eyes and ears for board of directors. They have a lot of expectation because as a good practice globally, intern auditor report to the audit committee functionally, and administratively they report to either CFO, CEO or MD. So this is the good reporting pattern. Functionally, we should report to audit committee or board, and administratively we should report to MD and CEO. So this is the global benchmark reporting pattern to ensure we become independent. So we are eyes and ears for board. They expect us to value preserve, wealth protection. They expect us to we go with them and confirm them. There is integrity over the financial report. That's the financial results which publish quarter on quarter. As I told you, this is our core role. We have to give that comfort to the board. And if there is over provision, under provisioning, under profiting, over profit disclosure gap, something not mapped, any major provision not done. So we have to go back, any figures which is understated, contingent liability not given accurately, any claims not mentioned in the disclosure, many things. So as a chartered accountant, I don't have to get into that financial reporting, which any misreporting. So that is as I told you, we have to go back and tell them, is there any integrity issue of financial reporting happen on quarter related party transaction. So friends, this is just to share my experience in JSW. We are mandated whatever companies, as I told you, we have almost 23 audit committee and 6 risk committee every quarter. So that is the size of audit committee, risk committee we handle. I'm repeating, 23 audit committee and 6 risk committee we handle in every quarter. And we have given mandate in most of our audit committee to review related party independently. Basically, the primary responsibility of management to prepare related party. Statutory auditor has to give his views, and we give that comfort to the top management, CFO, CEO, and the internal audit, in the audit committee. Is there any related party gaps? Is the transaction happen on the arm's length? Is the pricing is happen at the arm's length? And whatever transaction we done, it done in the ordinary course of business. So these two tests we do every quarter for all large companies. We audit every quarter done by my team. Is the all transactions happen on the arm's length, or whether those transactions happen in the ordinary course of business? So we give our report every quarter. We submit along with our quarterly report to the independent directors, audit committee chair. Update on the top business risks. So audit committee expect us to not only give the small, medium, and those audit issues. They want us to tell you what could be the top business risks for the quarter, for half yearly, whenever we present it. Sorry, my apologies, slide got changed. Yeah. So they expect necessary to tell us what are the top business risks. We have to update them. Any major risk popping up, maybe currently or maybe at future date, we have to go back and brief to the board. I told you fraud risk. You have to tell them any fraud done by the management, or it is done outside the organization by the employee, by the top management. We have to go and brief them. We have to discuss them any corporate governance issue, and definitely we have a quarterly compliance committee where we definitely we have our own software whereby we track it. As I told you, we have 36 plants, 36 plus plant all across country. So we give them every quarterly to our audit committee on compliance front. Where are we compliant, or wherever we are not compliant? What are our action plan? When are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? What could be the implication? What could be the penalty? So based on the severity, we discuss at different level the severe issues, if any, on the compliance we brought to the table of audit committee. So they are our number one stakeholder who are charged with the governance, that is audit committee. Now I will take on slide to the who is our second top people to whom we report, our major stakeholder, CFO and CEO. You know that these both are the KMP, key managerial personnel. So who are these people, friends? They are the top management. They are directly responsible for performance. Their personal growth is depend on the growth of the organization, because their performance bonus, their variable pay, their bonuses, their salary increments, everything is based on their performance. They involved in strategy decision, and they monitor overall business day-to-day basis. So left hand side we discuss who are these people. Now what they expect from us as an internal auditor? They expect management assessment. We help them, you know, legally as per SEBI guidelines, CEO and CFO, they are responsible for IFC if any control gap. So we help them to give them a report whether controls are effective, whether controls are working properly, is there any control gap, is there any improvement required, is any control are ineffective, what could be the mitigation plan, is it happening manually, is it not happening system. So we have to go back with the top, and you all know that I did not discuss more here. There are entity level controls, there are business process control level IFC, there are IFC related to ITGC ISC, there are control related to business process control, entity level control, forensic related control, and ITGC related control. Then they expect us to knowledge sharing across the company. If I observe something in the one plant, they expect I cannot go with one. If I found any major gap or system lapses in one plant, so if I have a cement 8 plants, if I observe it one of my plant in Vijayanagar, I found a major system gap or process improvement or a cost saving, If I cannot just simply go and with the board or CEO, sir, we found this is the cost saving opportunity or cost, or there is a gap in the quality, or there is a packing issue in one plant, they will definitely tell me, boss, I'm happy, thank you, help me with the issue. But what is I'm expected to tell me what is happening at other 7 plants. So that is what we call even risk management. Internal audit also now expected to give the assurance to the top management and board at enterprise level. They will appreciate if you go with, say, if you say there is a GST is not availed, or there is a mismatch in 3A and 2B, and these are the crore of differences. In fact, vendor has not uploaded, or we have not taken all the uploaded our invoices. If I say this is not happening in, say, my Maharashtra plant, the board will say, top management will say, okay, thank you, Chetan, thank you for bringing the notice. There is a gap of 3 crore. But what is the status at the enterprise level? If I bring together all plant and I will say, sir, yes, 15 crore IGST is not being considered, then they will appreciate. So you have to do inter-unit, inter-cross company, maybe with the same sector outside company, get those benchmark practice. See, these are the expectation coming time and again from the top management. Process effectiveness, compliance we discuss. We help in the SOPs, DOPs, policy procedure framing. We have to brief them any fraud, error, major error, frauds we come across during course of audit place. So these are they are our second stakeholders, the most important, to whom we administratively report, and whom do we functionally report is audit committee we discuss. So friends, coming to our third, operating management. What do you understand by operating management? These are the plant HOD, quality head, repair maintenance head, your account head, your vice president account, vice president finance, the vice president quality, your vice president, your head of packing bag, anybody, head of finance. So these are the operating management. Who are these people? They are responsible execution day by day. They are responsible for operation efficiency, and the personal growth is directly related to organization growth. Now what they expect from us, this HOD, head of plant, all the HODs, what they expect? They expect us to give assurance on the how internal control works. They definitely expect us a cost saving opportunity, cost improvement opportunity, revenue optimization opportunity, cost reduction opportunity, cost cutting opportunity, and necessary, as I told you, now days are gone. Say example, internal audit has total cost of say 10 crore. We have 40-50 crore. Say the total cost is 10 crore. So we have a target of 100 crore cost saving, actual cost saving. It is not the notional cost saving. So example, my top management has given me 100 crore actual cost saving targets. So we are, rather than say 8 to 10 crore cost center for a company, we are at the profit center. We converted as a profit center, and we make sure that apart from our routine audit, we make sure that we have a saving of 100 crore plus. So we become a profit center. We become a part of the bottom line. We contribute to the bottom line, not necessarily the top line, but at least we endeavor as an internal auditor, as a risk manager, we add to the bottom line. And I think this is the expectation. You may be a consultant outside CA firm serving as a consulting, or this is not only expected from we as an internal auditor, it is even external internal auditor is also expected. If somebody is paying fees of 15-20 lakhs to you to review their operation audit, it is expected if they are giving 20 lakhs, you may give them a saving of 1 or 2 CR. So they will appreciate your work, not only system control and assurance, you will be appreciated for your work. So try and convert yourself from cost center to profit center. So these are the very minimum expectation from the top team. Cross company, we discuss this benchmarking practice, something if good practice I observed at one plant, I can bring it to my other 7 plants. Some gaps I found in one plant, I go back to my 7 plants and I check it around. It will not take a great time. I'm telling you, we found a major gap in any one plant. Say I found one we have unit in Andhra, Telangana, say Nandyal. If I found one major gap, quality issue in say one plant, I will hardly take maybe a couple of hours and I check it my other 7 plant what is happening, and I go back to my top team audit committee. boss, we found audit issue in Telangana and we found the same similar issue in my other 2 plants, but my other 5 plants are compliant on that and there is no quality issue on packing, my example. So at least my management is very sure. If I only go and say my Telangana plant is a quality issue, but they will then keep pondering and keep thinking, boss, what is happening in other side? I am really scared. Why don't you go and come back to me and tell me? So before they tell you in audit committee, or you go into sitting with the CFO or CEO, and you talked about one Telangana plant, and you don't discuss what is happening in the 7 plants, I'm sure you will not be appreciated. And if you go with the good preparation and tell them out of such we have 8 plants in a cement, we found the observation in Nandel, so we checked it 7 location. We found 2 location also has a similar problem. 5 location is completely compliant. There is no issue. So management, top management, I'm telling you, friends, enterprise-wise level you give them, they will hugely appreciate your efforts. I'm telling you, you will be highly appreciated, and they will welcome you for any important business decision they are taking. You will be one of the invitee. I'm telling you, friends, I'm telling my experience of 25 years, you will be invitee in any good strategic decision, they will invite you. Okay? So we help them on the non-compliance by our audit. We give them a assurance on system and processes. And who is our last stakeholder, friends? Any thoughts? Any thoughts? Who is the last stakeholder? We talked about audit committee. We talked about board member. We talked about CEO. We talked about CFO. We talked about operating management, which includes all the HODs, maybe a plant, maybe a branch, maybe your head office. Who is the last stakeholder? Any thoughts? Anybody want to contribute quickly? 30 seconds. I am just, meanwhile, I will have a sip of water. Can anybody share, please? Who is our last stakeholder? You can drop in the chat or question. Any thoughts? We have discussed 3 set of stakeholders, which is anybody? Okay. So I will just open up the most important stakeholder again. Last but not least is our own internal audit staff. I need not to discuss what is who is internal audit staff, which is I written on the left hand side. Who do the audit, who plan, execute. What they expect from us as a leader. They expect you give them a business exposure, you give them experience, you give them a learning on the different technology we discuss, you send them on training and development, you give them a training, you give them a career planning growth, and you give them a financial rewards. So they are our last stakeholders. So friends, before I come to my the top, which I feel the topmost 2 slides out of today's presentation I'm going to present. Can somebody summarize for me who are the 4 stakeholders we discussed? I would really appreciate your engagement. Please put it in a chat. Who are the 4 stakeholders we discussed just now? I would happy to see you being engaged and helping me to. So at least I will also be happy. The time I am spending with you is making sense to you.
Hope you're seeing it in questions panel.
Friends, I will summarize for you. We discussed the four. So I will summarize the four major stakeholders and what are their expectation. We talked first about audit committee. Second, we talked about CFO, CEO. Third, we talked about the operation management, and fourth, we talked about I staff. So friends, come to the last two slides, which are the important thing. So we talked about, I will summarize what are the best benchmark practices. Increasing focus on the agile auditing and issuing the flash report. So friends, nowadays there is a concept of agile auditing. See, you may do any audit, say if you're doing procurement audit, or you're doing a marketing audit, or you are doing fixed assets audit. On an average, it may take maybe a month's time to complete your entire audit cycle. Or there may be some burning issues, some important issues, some gray areas, some red flags. You don't have to necessarily wait for a month's time to release your report. So that's why agile audit concept is prevailing right now. Whenever you find anything, take a stock regularly, maybe in every week time. What is the progress happening in internal audit? To come out any important issue a flash report. You may issue final report maybe after a month, the way we are doing traditionally. But agile auditing is gaining its importance time and again, and it is now expected you release the flash report immediately. Let's not wait for your final report to complete. Second best practice, I team not only consists chartered accountant. In my team, as a good practice, we have a chartered accountants team, we have certified internal auditors team. So they are experts in risk management internal audit. We have experts of CISA, that is information technology experts. We have experts CFEs. So we have certified internal audit in my team, and the most important person, because see, we are all good at accounts, finance, tax, control, risk, but technically sometimes we lack. So we have an engineers in our team as well. So our internal audit team consists of all this set of people. So it is a good idea to have as a global benchmark good practice. This is the good mix of, based on your business requirement, good mix of team. Use of subject matter expert and the guest auditor. If you feel your current team doesn't have, if you have to do review of the insurance and you don't have the expertise in say marine insurance, how it happens, or a shipping insurance, you hire the subject matter expert. They will give, say if you are reviewing a derivative transaction done by your company, you doesn't know much about derivative, so you cannot give assurance to the management or to the board. You have to hire the subject matter experts who are into derivative, and they will give their a complete view on the transaction happening. So that is a good practice too. We have a practice of even having a guest auditor. What do you mean by guest auditor? Say cement, I have 8 plant, I have one repair and maintenance. One manager I picked up, he will go and do that audit in another three plants. I picked up from some other plant, I will send him to other 2 plants. So he will become a guest auditor on behalf of us. We'll discuss the scope, we'll discuss the audit strategy, and he will do those audits. So because he is a subject expert into his area, and he will able to leverage a better audit or gaps in the system or any non-compliance. What is next best practice? See, these are the, I will take up some of the non-conventional audit areas. I am sure very few people still venture into this audit area. We all are doing account payable, fixed asset audit, procurement audit, marketing audit, compliances audit, statutory compliance audit, GST audit. But these are the newer areas we call non-conventional audit areas. Org structure audit, social media audits, cyber security audit, related party we discussed. So these are non-conventional area. Let's try and open up your wings and get into this area. I'm telling you, friends, management and the board will appreciate like anything. Then take a survey for the client satisfaction index. See, we have process of doing every audit we complete. Say if I have done a project audit for my say Telangana unit, I have a format where I take the satisfaction. If they will suggest me, is my auditor has a business knowledge, is he approached properly, is he communicate properly, has he data analyzed properly, has the reporting has been done correctly, has them discussed with them, are they happy with them, is the auditor was effective. So every audit completed each location, we prepare a client satisfaction. See, if I am doing procurement, head of commercial at that plant will give me, he will fill up the survey for me. So this will help not only to understand your auditee better, and this is the training platform to understand the gaps, improvise our team. So this is one of the very good best practice. I would like to suggest you to go ahead. This is most important annual I report scorecard to the senior management and the audit committee. So we just don't simply quarter on quarter we give the issues to the management board and management. We prepare an annual I report score. So we say what is our role, what is our cost saving done, what are the major compliances, where all we have given assurance, where all our role as an acquisition we played a role, what are the kind of investigation we done it, what is the kind of compliance coverage he done it, how the number of new companies added, number of new location added. So we give what is the cost saving done, cost reduction done by us. So it is a simply one pager annual IA report score, but that give you the flavor what is the work done by your entire team throughout the year. That one page will summarize everything about your performance, your savings, a kind of contribution done by you, and how effectively and efficacy used in our internal auditing. So that's again a good practice to have an annual IA report scorecard. Next one, we encourage private meeting with the audit committee members. So there is not simply a compliance sort of audit committee or checkbox or sort of paper meeting. We even before going to audit committee, there are a lot of question answer, sharing of experiences, sharing of each other expectation is done with the audit committee. So these are called private meetings. This happens based on our request or based on the chairman or independent director's request. So this is a good healthy practice because these are the people, these are the audit committee is the people to whom we report. Next one, concerned business heads. There are some important burning issue. We invite those business heads. If there is some important issue in branding, we find gap in the branding. We call the branding head, marketing head, to answer to the board or answer to the CEO the gap or the observation we have reported to the top management or to the board. Peer comparison inside and outside for the best practice. This is again, you don't have, as I told you, within plant, if I found gap, I found any improvement area, I found any cost saving scope, I will look into my all 10 plants. Or see if I am into energy, as a JSW Energy, I take the best practice from say Tata Power, I go to Reliance Power, I go to Adani Power, we share each other best practice, and if there is an opportunity to leverage and learn from them, so making my processes and systems more robust. So friends, these are the few best practice I thought of sharing with you for the benefit to all of you. Now coming to the last slide for today. So friends, coming to the last slide, this is take home message. So friends, the future of IA looks both promising and challenging too. Because I am a seasonal auditor, I am into this last 25 years, so I'm a career auditor. I've taken this as a career last 25 years and want to pursue till my end of my career. So definitely it's promising. It has helped me to come to this position and become a smart auditor, and definitely it is challenging every day. I am also facing challenges even after 25 years. Still there are a lot things to learn from businesses in terms of risk, in terms of technology. So we prioritize those things, and with limited resource and manpower, we try and get into those things. Second, global markets changing rapidly. You know, global how things are changing, and we all facing through pandemic. Still we are into that. So I has to keep a pace. You have to pace with that. Where business is going, where global market is going, you have to pace up with them. You cannot have a big gap between these two things. You have to sooner the better. You have to cope up with them. Third important thing, we discuss in a greater details with a lot of practical example. Upskill yourself with newer technology tools used in the business. You don't have to be technically qualified, but you have to understand this technology tools used in the business from control, governance, risk, and compliance perspective. We discuss in a greater detail on this. Embrace technology and be inquisitive for best usage in IA. So embrace this technology, understand these nuances we discussed, and make best use for our reporting and getting the best of the issues for the top team. Carry out more business-oriented audit with the value drivers. As I told you, we have to endeavor so even as per the definition by IIA, definition by ICCA, our role is not only to assurance, our role is now as an advisory and as a consulting role. So internal audit definition also says you have to make value proposition to the business. So you become from cost center to profit center and make a value driver for your management. So you will be highly appreciated. Definitely, I am not saying you have to necessarily do cost saving. Our primary role always going to remain assurance, and secondary role remain as a consulting and advisory service. Second last, visit to customer and vendors for market insight and intelligence. So friends, my experience of last 25 years, I've seen that, see, if you do audit sitting in the office or doing some data analysis through your SAP system or Oracle, and if you don't visit the customer vendor, you will not going to get the actual insights, what is happening on the source, what is happening in the market. So we encourage, we go to customer. Last week, my team member had gone, say he was doing a branding audit. He hired himself car, gone to the, he took 3-day survey of the branding activity happening in his, say, Hyderabad region. He met the dealers, he met sales promoter, he met CFA agents. Few places he went as a customer, he pretend himself as a customer. He seen what are the activity happening at the competitors. He inquired about the quality, timeliness, customer feedback. Some places we presented as we are coming from company in audit team to understand your difficulty. So this gives you a lot of surprises. I'm telling you, friends. Just sitting in the office and sitting in office or working from home and doing some analysis and putting a few observation will not really you will able to buy in your top management. You will not be the valued the way you should have been valued as a professional, as a chartered accountant. So friends, please go to the market, talk to vendor, go to them, understand their costing, understand their difficulty, understand quality issue. Is there any kickbacks are happening? Why they are not given? Why they are given a lot of business? Why they are given no business this year? Why they have been rejected every time? Please introspect that. Go to market, talk to your customer. I am saying you by my experience of last, it has given so many surprises by just going outside your office, meet this vendor, customer. You will get a hell of the insights and intelligence. I'm telling you, friends, this is going to be a most powerful tool. We as an auditor, please go out of our comfort zone and do this market intelligence, please. Last suggestion, a take-home message from me: surprise elements in audit process to early uncover frauds. Say if I communicate my quarter-wise plan to auditee, he become very comfortable. Say I'm doing repair maintenance in my one of the plant, say Vijayanagar, and I told him I'm going to do in quarter 1. So these people will become so robust, and they will make the system, they will set the documentation, everything will be perfect. But what if I don't do, if I tell them I'm doing an audit in quarter 1, and if I don't go and I go surprise and I go do in quarter 3, I'm telling you, friends, you will get a lot of surprises in those processes. So it is not every time you have to open all your cards. Don't open up all your cards. Keep some cards secret, open as and when required, do your own intelligence and do a surprise checks. This will uncover not only a surprises, but my experience says it will uncover even a lot of frauds. So friends, this is thank you so much for patient hearing, and these are the few thoughts we discussed into 2 parts. And we have discussed in 2 parts. I have shared with you practical insights, best benchmark practices, and we spoke about how transition happened from 1950s, what is expected, the skill. We talked about health checkup, what are the things business expect, our stakeholder expects. So I hope I made a sense. All of you, 1.5 hours I had spent with you all, friends. So thank you so much from my side, and I'm happy to take any questions, please. You may
See
put
the
in your chat box or question, please.
questions
Thank
panel
you
only,
very
sir,
much.
not a chat box. Questions panel alone, you can see the response that you asked.
Anybody has anything? I'm happy to take any questions, please. I will keep it open under 5 minutes. Any question? I will take one by one, please.
Selva, are there any questions in the chat box?
In questions panel, there is one question on 646, sir. You can see. Scroll down.
Can you
How to
read
get-
out for me? Because unfortunately, the window is not opening up for me. So I'll be really happy if you share this question to me. Or you can read out for us, Salva.
How to get the best practice of other corporates in the industry.
So that's what I'm saying. See, this is by the networking. See, I have a lot of networking group. So I'm being connected with all the chief auditors. I have almost more than 250 chief auditors. May it be Mahindra, Aditya Birla, may it be Siemens, any large company, Crompton Greaves, Blue Star. So you build your networks. I have got people from Reliance Industries, chief auditors are part of. I have other group where I have all the chief risk officer of large corporates. So, or you through you go to program like this, you build a network. So build those trust between us. A lot of things are even available, even publicly. A lot of data is available. Some benchmarking can be you can by way of having formal, informal group like this. So if once you have to share, then they will also share. They will open up. So you collectively, as an industry, as a sector, grow together. They will share what are the best practices, what could be cyber risks, they perceive it. What are the top risks in their sector? Say power sector, what are they? So my company told me, ki, Chetan, can you help me with the cyber security? You know, that is work from home last year. So I took a help of my other friends in the same industry, all large companies. I took from 4 large energy companies. They shared with us. We had a con call. We share each other practice. We develop a very robust cyber security framework and policy. I'm just giving an example practically. So you have to develop your network, having the social media through the meeting, through your relation, through connects, building a trust. So you then people will slowly come gradually. They share each other best practices, and then you can make sense as a consultant, as an advisor, or even we as a industry people. We go with our top management, sir. This is what JSW follow. This is what Tata's follows. This is what Reliance follow. This is how Adani follows, and we come with these comparative charts, and we say, sir, where do we stand? Where do others stand? And these are the area where we have to improve. We have to buy in from those best practice, or something we can drop in, or something where we are very strong. Not necessary every time, Madhara, sir, these 3-4 parameters we are very strong, and we feel ki we are doing the best among as a sector, or there are 2-3 areas where maybe something is very good done at Tata Power, or something may be very good done at Tata Power, Adani Power, or something some really very good done at say Reliance Power. So we collect. So this is how you have to develop that repo and having those formal and informal network. That's what I do it. Yeah, please. I hope I have answered your question. How to develop those. A lot of things are available. There are paid sites. There are lot of newsletter, technical newsletter also, where you can able to benchmark that. Any other question? I'm happy to take, please.
Also, the question, the response for the thing that you've asked for, sir, over the session, like the topics that you covered, and everything.
Thank you
Not
so
much,
much.
but do you want to take the poll now, sir? The rest of poll that you have.
Sure, sure, sure. Sure,
Okay,
please. Thanks, Alok.
I'll just post the poll now, sir.
Sure, sure.
I'll close the poll now, sir.
Yeah,
I
sure.
will
Sure.
share the result here. So we have met the expectations, and
Thank you
go
so
with
much.
it.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to have you all and share my experience. Yeah, please, you can go get through the next poll question, please. Okay. Okay,
Response
fine.
for the webinar, and I'll just
Thank
move
you
to the
so
next
much.
one.
Thank you so much. So at
Last
least,
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go to the last
Yes.
yeah, sir.
the last course.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please, Selva. Thank you so much. Okay, great.
Yeah. Great.
Great. So it is good to hear that our members are interested in this relevant topics on enterprise forensic. Good to hear, and thank you so much for patient hearing. It is almost 2 hours now, and
Yes,
thank
sir.
you, Maheshwaran, for giving me opportunity.
Yeah.
I could able to share with the practical insights of what I had all this time, a mix of my consulting role and my role in the industry for all these years. Indeed, it's a great pleasure to have you all at my SSC members. Thank you so much for giving an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, over
Thank
to
you,
Maheshwaran, please.
Satyajit. On behalf of SIRC, I'm glad to thank you very much for giving I mean, very great insight, I think, which we could get only from such an experienced person. I think
Thank you.
about 80 and 90 and odd participants were there throughout the experience, and I think they most of them would have got what is that keyword, business oriented audits with value drivers. That's very key. I think our members
Absolutely.
are eager to shift from just by compliance audit. I think this is a great opportunity. I think chartered accountants are in a pioneering position to do that than any other professional. Thank you for introducing such a new and great venture. Thank you
Thank you
for
so
all
much.
the participants who stayed for such a subject and listened in. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again. It's an indeed pleasure to talk to my own fellow friends at SIRC. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm logging off. Thank you so much. Yeah.